What's up, everybody? In today's video I will be speaking about everyone's favorite muscle group, which is the chest. So I have a funny story from when I first started lifting a while ago. I actually asked a random guy in the gym what should I do, and he showed me how to do dumbbell bicep curls, of course. What else? And then I grabbed the 10-pound dumbbells and started curling. Immediately after, a girl came and started doing the same exercise by my side, only she was using the 20-pound dumbbells. I looked in the mirror at her and she looked back at me, and we both started smiling for obvious reasons. After that, I got so motivated to get better and stronger that for some reason I started doing the bench press. I don't know why I thought that was a manly exercise to do. At that time, I didn't know anything about programming or training splits or anything like that. So I came up with a split myself that looks something like this. So for week 1, I would do chest and biceps from Monday to Sunday, 7 days, non-stop. Week 2, I would do back and triceps, the same from Monday to Sunday. And week 3, I would do legs and abs, again from Monday to Sunday, and then repeat. I did this for an entire year, in which I managed to add 45 pounds of body weight. By the end of the year, I was able to bench press 225 for 2 reps. So can you imagine how bad was that? And I was still able to make progress. That means, a beginner can do almost anything and still make progress. And now, getting back to our topic, I will be speaking about anatomy, exercise selection, rep range, volume, frequency, recommendations that I have, and progression scheme. The pectoral muscles have a couple of important functions related to movement, stability, and strength, and they are comprised of pec major and pec minor. They are responsible for shoulder adduction, internal rotation of the shoulder, shoulder extension, and shoulder flexion. These functions make the pecs essential for pressing, pushing, and other athletic movements, and they are contributing to upper body strength and stability. Starting off with exercise selection, the best movement for your chest is the one that you can do sustainably for a long time and the one that you enjoy doing the most. If I was to put it as simple as possible, you should do flat barbell bench press for overall development and an incline variation, either dumbbells or barbell, for your upper chest. At last, you can do some accessories or isolation movements like dips, cable flies, dumbbell flies, pec decks, and so on. The barbell bench press has been an effective exercise for both strength and hypertrophy for a very long time, but what makes it so good is how much tension it enforces onto your pecs due to its loading potential. The incline press is as good as the flat bench press, the only difference being the upper chest emphasis. In my opinion, you should not go higher than 45 degrees on the bench if you want to maximize upper chest growth. 30 degrees is okay, but be careful not to arch too much because you're almost transforming it into a regular flat bench and you will get no benefit for the upper chest. I actually did this mistake for a long time without realizing it. Personally, I prefer doing the incline press with dumbbells as it offers more variation and it allows greater range of motion at the bottom, increasing the stretch on the pecs, which is very hypertrophic. Also, if you do dumbbell presses, it's gonna be safer if you fail a rep. You can simply lower the dumbbells down and you're done. I like using dumbbells also because it allows me to make more of an arch with my arms on the concentric part of the movement, but the barbell will have your hands in a fixed position. For isolation, I like doing either cable or dumbbell flies with a slow eccentric and the pause at the bottom for max stretch. Dumbbell flies have been a staple of mine because I do not own a cable machine at home. If you also train at home, another good option is to do feet elevated push-ups with a backpack or a vest. Bodyweight movements definitely work and they will grow muscle mass for sure. Another option you have is to use gymnastics rings and hang them either on a pull-up bar or somewhere in a park, and you can do your push-ups like that. They're also awesome for the stretch. You should allow the arms to open more and create more distance between the arms and the shoulders. Let's not forget that machine presses and flies are also excellent choices and should not be left aside. Many people only do compound movements, and I think it's a mistake because machines have many advantages and they're as good as free weights for muscle mass. Machines usually provide a big range of motion. They're very stable. They provide a lot of tension in a stable environment, which makes them ideal for training hard to failure. Also, they provide good fatigue management when compared to compound exercises. Being stable means you can spend your energy and focus on pushing a weight in a fixed plane, and that's going to be ideal from a stimulus point of view. I've seen people develop insane physiques with only machines as well as compound movements, so your best bet is to do both. Another great way of pressing for a big chest is to use a Smith machine, as it allows you to push in a forced path, and depending on how you set it up, it can be amazing for your chest as for many other muscle groups. Honestly, if I had the Smith machine, I would use it all the time because every time I had the chance to use one, I had so much fun and I had such great workouts. I was able to grind the last reps at the end of a set. Other exercises for the pecs that are amazing and worth mentioning are Larsen press. This is probably as good, if not better, than regular bench press for hypertrophy. I don't have much experience with it, but I plan on integrating it in my routine. And I let you guys know how it goes. It allows your chest to work harder, not having your legs involved. That's basically the main take about the Larsen press. Also, you can do Spoto press, which takes away the stretcher reflex from bouncing the bar on your chest, like I do sometimes. And I also plan on fixing that as well. You can do dips, cable crossover, decline bench press, incline machine press, and so on. Now let's talk about volume. Volume will be very individual. It depends on your experience level, your ability to recover, and how hard you push your sets. For beginners, I say 6 to 12 total sets per week. For intermediates, 10 to 20 total sets per week. For advanced, probably a minimum of 12 sets and a maximum of around 22 sets. But again, this is going to be very individual. Most people will see great results in the 10 to 20 set range per week. If you do around 9 to 12 very high quality sets per week, that will most likely be more than enough to grow your chest. I've been getting away with doing 9 sets per week for a while now. As long as you're training close to failure or to failure, you will be good. If you need to do above 20 sets per week to make progress, maybe you should take a step back and look how your sets are done, because you might be sandbagging a lot. As for the frequency of training,
Even though training your chest once a week might be enough for a while, in my opinion, you should aim to train your chest 2 to 3 times a week for efficiency and quality of sets. For example, doing 12 sets for your chest during a single workout might be lacking quality, proximity to failure, because you tend to sandbag a lot knowing you have many sets left to do. What you should do instead is to spread the volume on 2 or 3 separate occasions and do 4 to 6 hard sets for your chest, close to failure or to failure. That will assure your sets will be quality sets. Quality, my friend. That's an Hermes Gasparini quote, if you know the guy. Also, you will get more practice while being fresh and become better at the moves you've selected. As for the rep range, we're gonna be speaking about muscle growth here. So for barbell movements, flat and incline, that's gonna be 6 to 10 rep range. For dumbbells, I like the 8 to 10 rep range, so a bit higher. For isolation movements like cable crossover or dumbbell flies, I would say you should do a minimum of 10 reps to 15 to 20 maybe. That will be very effective. As I've stated in a previous video, for dips, I like higher rep range, higher than 10, if you are capable of doing that. For machines, I suggest working in a medium 8 to 15 rep range. Now you're probably wondering, what should you do? So every exercise can be split into 2 parts, the eccentric and the concentric part of the movement, and both are going to be important for hypertrophy. The eccentric part of the movement allows the muscle to lengthen, stretch, and grow due to stretch-mediated hypertrophy. Try to focus on full range of motion and develop your flexibility to be able to access those positions. If it hurts, reduce the range of motion and work from there. It's important to find balance of having good form, good range of motion, and stability. As for barbell bench press, for hypertrophy, you shouldn't use too much of an arch because you will reduce your range of motion, and if anything, having your shoulder blades stuck in a fixed position and not be able to move will be worse for your shoulders and scapula, and it might lead to bad movement function. Just focus on keeping your shoulder blades down, as it allows your scapula to move freely. And with dumbbells, lower the weight down as much as you can without having discomfort for the stretch mediated hypertrophy. Shortened bias exercises should not be left aside because they can be taken beyond failure. So make sure you're gonna be doing both lengthened and shortened bias exercises in your routine. For dumbbell flies, I suggest slightly bending your elbows to take stress from the biceps and straighten your arm at the end of the rep. I know many of you like feeling your chest when doing a set, and that's great from a mind-muscle connection perspective. Personally, I have mixed feelings about this because from my own experience, feeling my muscles working is just a psychological thing, and it doesn't make a difference for muscle growth, at least for me. I mean, do you think you can grow muscle if you just squeeze and feel your chest while sitting on a couch? No, you need muscle tension, which is achieved by doing resistance training. I personally just execute the exercise in a controlled manner with adequate intensity, proximity to failure, and I'm not thinking much like, oh, I'm now feeling my muscle contract at the top of a curl. No, the muscle is going to do that by itself without you having to think about doing that, because it needs to overcome resistance. For example, I barely feel my lats at all during a pull-up in the bottom position because I'm not thinking about that. Yet, I still manage to grow and get sore almost all the time, or even my chest when I do presses, yet my chest still has developed well. I see no problem focusing on mind muscle connection. If that helps you get a better result, go for it. Having that sensation doesn't stimulate muscle growth. What can mind muscle get you is to help you be more aware of your technique and which muscles are failing first. I still think it has value, just not as much as some people might suggest. I might change my stance on this in the future, maybe, we'll see. It's a good idea to superset pressing with the rowing movements to keep the shoulders warmed up and to prevent having too much shoulder internal rotation, because we already have too much of that from all the desk work and using our phones. Doing rows on your pressing day will also help with maintaining good technique on your bench press. You also need to train your rotator cuff some way. By the way, I have a whole protocol that I do myself for shoulder health. If you're interested, I will make a separate video about it. From a programming standpoint, you should be rowing as much as you're pressing to maintain the shoulder internal and external balance. Now let's speak about progression. One of the most important principles for muscle growth is progressive overload. This means gradually increasing the weight, reps, sets, or modifying the exercise to make them more difficult and to put them in a more disadvantageous position. Aim to add small increments to your lifts while maintaining proper form. I suggest using intensity in the 60 to 80% of your 1 rep max, and use the double progression method and dynamic double progression. I've actually spoken about this in my How to Grow Big Arms video. I will be linking the video in the description. For hypertrophy, I think this will get you results for a very long time, and using the dynamic double progression will assure you're always training hard and get the most out of your sets because it's auto-regulated. One of the most important factors about programming and progression is to make sure you're adjusting the volume and intensity in order to be able to recover for your next workout. You need to try this by yourself. Make sure you're getting enough quality sleep and good nutrition. You should be in a small caloric surplus to keep the gains coming. I would say around 150 to 200 calories. I think it's a sweet spot. Alright, that was it for this topic. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe for further videos. Thank you for your time and see you in the next video.